is that judicial officers have been liberated from the tedious, inefficient, and manual labor, freeing them to perform their core function, and that is the production of robust jurisprudence that breathes life into our constitutional and legal dispensation. The State of the Judiciary report also includes numerous instances of jurisprudence that involve the invalidation of executive measures. All I can say is that we will strive to live up to our commitment to work within the Constitution and avoid running afoul with our courts. As I give this assurance, I am alive to the fact that the judiciary has mechanisms to achieve accountability for the exercise of judicial power and for public resources entrusted to it. The outputs of the Judicial Ombudsman are tremendously enlightening. Particularly noteworthy is that beyond resolving complaints, the mechanisms investigates root causes to minimize recurrence. And I want to encourage Madam Chief Justice and the judicial system to improve on the Judicial Ombudsman's performance. The public and the other arms of government expect the judiciary to perform its duty with integrity. And it's my expectation, because judicial power and independence comes with huge responsibility. And huge responsibility comes with a good measure of accountability. And that is why, to be able to exercise judicial power and independence effectively, responsibility and accountability must come with it. And I want to work with the judiciary, to support the judiciary, so that we can have an accountable and responsive judicial system. Integrity assurance and corruption prevention are essential pillars of remedial and corrective action. Likewise, the judiciary's performance management enhances staff accountability and guarantees service delivery to a high professional with assurance of continued improvement. Enforcement of Judicial Service Commission's Code of Conduct also forms part of the performance management and integrity assurance framework. And together, they provide the basis for internal audits that are used to measure and improve performance in the judiciary. I have noted all these impressive achievements for two principal reasons. First, the high standard and consistent improvement was achieved in spite of the judiciary's staff establishment falling far below its requirement. Currently, the judiciary has 6,182 employees. To operate optimally, the report states that the judiciary requires 9,417 employees, 348 judges, 1,200 judicial officers, and 650 law clerks and legal researchers, and 7,219 judicial staff. Secondly, the impressive performance was achieved on a budgetary allocation which stood at 0.6% of the national budget. Without a doubt, the low budgetary allocation has affected critical projects and activities. It is with this in mind that I gave the undertaking, and which I repeat, to enhance annual allocation to the judiciary for the next 5 years in an effort to mitigate the opportunity cost of accrued shortfalls. And since we have the other arms of government represented here, we have committed to increase the budgetary allocation to the judiciary by 3 billion shillings every year, that we build the necessary infrastructure, hire the requisite numbers of staff, and build ICT capabilities to enable our judiciary deliver on its mandate. I congratulate the Chief Justice and the entire judicial service for doing a good job against serious constraints. We do not take for granted your admirable effort to raise the standard of output amid such tremendous challenges. I believe that I have demonstrated sufficient commitment to provide confidence that we in the executive shall do our part to support the judiciary in delivery of its mandate. I applaud the judiciary's overall performance and its consistency in retaining public trust. We acknowledge that there are gaps, of course, but we also recognize that there is demonstrable opportunity, capacity, and commitment to bridge them to the satisfaction of all citizens. I pledge our support to your vision of social transformation through access to justice, because it is our duty to do so, because we are aligned in our transformational agenda, and because we share a citizen-centric, bottom-up delivery model focused on individual and collective well-being of all the citizens of Kenya. For the avoidance of doubt, I reiterate my commitment and that of the government of Kenya to live up to our pledge to the people of Kenya that we intend to empower the judiciary and the criminal justice system as required by the Constitution, as well as respect the decisions and orders of the courts as they relate to the executive. Expect no more or no less. And even as we commit to the independence of the judiciary and to support the judiciary, give it financial independence, we do the same for all the other independent institutions. I did commit that we will do the same for our police service, because we believe that a professional police service will do the job. I have already established an independent budget and appointed an independent accounting officer for the police service so that they can discharge their mandate without reference to any other office or any other institution, as is required of us by law. I am a great believer, and I will work with all the arms of government in building our institutions and respecting those institutions. We will build the judiciary and respect the judiciary. We will build all the other institutions, including the police and other institutions, and support them and respect them. We cannot, at the same time, be bringing down our institutions and expecting them to work for us. We must collectively, as a country, work towards building all the institutions set up by the Constitution as a guarantee for the country being built on the solid foundation of the rule of law and respect for the Constitution. Any other attempt to build this nation on the basis of individuals and personalities will lead to monumental failure. As we build, and I want to commit that we will support our security agencies to take up their mandate and protect and safeguard the sovereignty and the security of our country. And we will work with them to eliminate groups and sections that work against the Constitution and the law. I am very clear in my mind that we do not need the advice from the Scotland Yard to be able to remove and disband the murderous units in our police force. We didn't need any advice from nowhere. We just needed to respect our Constitution and do the right thing. I am very clear in my mind that supporting our professional police force will guarantee the lives of every Kenyan and the security of our property, and we will get rid of the menace of extrajudicial killings. We certainly don't need the support of institutions built by others. We can build our own institutions. Even those other institutions that we celebrate, be they the Scotland Yard or the FBI, they were built by countries who respect the rule of law and who believe in institutions. We should believe in ours. We should support our police force. We should support the Independent Police Oversight Authority. We should build our institutions. They will guarantee our security and they will guarantee our democracy. And that is what I believe in. Let me also say, for the record, because I hear our friends and brothers from the opposition trying to propose to us that we should denigrate our own institutions and work with the institutions of others, that we are much more sure of building our own institutions. And secondly, let me also say, for the avoidance of doubt, that as we commit additional resources and financial independence of all our independent institutions, the judiciary, the police, and all the other institutions, we must all work collectively towards making sure that we have savings and we collect revenues that will support our development. I want to ask the judiciary to work with us and not to provide any safe haven for the people running away from paying tax. They should not find refuge in the judiciary. They should not find refuge in judicial orders. We want every citizen to carry their portion of the burden of running the affairs of our country. That is the request I am making to the judiciary, as I do to the legislature, that we must all work towards sealing the loopholes of pilferage and leakage in our revenue collection. I think it is important for us to note that as a percentage of GDP, we are collecting 14% of our GDP. Our neighbors are collecting 25% of our GDP. So we are lacking behind. And that is why we have shortage of resources to run our development program. Our friends in the opposition are telling us that we should continue to borrow and we increase our savings. I want to say, for the avoidance of doubt and on record, that already we have had conversations with the Central Organization of Trade Unions. We have consultations with the Federation of Kenya Employers, and we have all agreed, except the people in the opposition, that it is necessary to increase our contributions on savings from 200 shillings to 6% of our salaries. Our brothers and sisters in the opposition should wake up to this reality and smell the coffee. Kenyans are moving on. We want to raise our savings because at the moment we are between 10 and 12% of GDP in terms of savings. We can scale that up to between 30 and 40% of our GDP. That is the surest foundation of running our development program, not merely thinking that you can go on a borrowing spree. In any case, the money you go to borrow is the savings of others, and you have to pay through the nose if you have to borrow. So we have, everybody's job has been cut out, and we will continue to have this conversation because we are a democratic nation. Finally, and once again, I congratulate the judiciary on the commendable progress made in delivering your solemn constitutional mandate, and wish all of you God's blessings as you proceed on the journey to transformational success. Thank you, and may God bless you. Asanteni sana.
Kawadhi nyime en jatend Migago mar weche limbe pacho ka Penina Malonza odiochieng' ma kawuono yango lipote we midhiero ma lee mag bunge kale kaluwore gi oro mochwere pacho ka. Kanotwag gi jofwambo, Malonza nolero ni kit lee mag bunge maromo 14 oseyudo midhiero chakre dwe mar 2 nyaka dwe mar 10 higani, ka kuonde ma yudo midhiero ahinya gin kuonde rito lee mag bunge mag Tsavo, Amboseli, Laikipia, Samburu to kod alwora magi. Malonza olero ni piny owacho koro keto chenro mopogore opogore mag reso lee mag bunge ma koro odong'. Malonza osingo ni migawo no dhi tiyo kanyakla gi migawo mar omenda kaachiel kod piny owacho machwalo omenda ne kwan mag lee mag bunge kachopi higa 2024.
At the beginning and end of each drought, we take stock. The landscape's disease are of all concern. In 2009, there was 100,000 livestock, the lack of rainfall. So the lack of rainfall just exacerbated. This is where we need to focus. So at the next drought, because there will be a next. In 2021, we lost a total of 56 elephants, and this year, for the specific period that I'm talking about, February to October this year, we've lost a total of 54 elephants, and the total of that is 110 that our DG talked about yesterday at Tsavo. We've equally lost 49 gravy zebra, and we've lost also 51 buffalo. We've lost a total of 12 giraffe, segregated into 8 of them being reticulated giraffe and also 8 being Maasai giraffe. The most affected areas include Amboseli, Tsavo, Laikipia, Samburu ecosystems. Elephants in Amboseli and Laikipia, Samburu region are worst affected by the drought, as the ecosystems have recorded more than 70 elephant deaths. Some of the interventions that the government of Kenya has undertaken include provision of aid to the affected species, and specifically the grave feeding program in northern Kenya and hippo feeding program at Mzima Springs.
Jolony matimo nonro mag thieth Kemri koni achiel kuom nonro ma gisetimo ma girito mondo mi opuodhi en kaka inyalo fweny mapiyo jogo man kod tuo mar malaria mondo mi ochak chiwo negi thieth chon kapo tuo okonyorogi. Maeri en achiel kuom gigo ma gisenyiso e show ma Mombasa ma kawuono donjo odiochienge mar 3, ka bende gilero ni jopur kod jopith nyalo mana tayo chenro megi ka gingima maonge tuoche machandogi. Komachielo, kambi mar Kenya Seed mochung' ne loso kothe mipidhe puothe koni gi morgo kang' ma piny owacho ochiero puonj mag somo mag pur e sikunde midendo ni 4K Club. Maeri gikoni biro miyo jopuonjre keto maino e chenro mag pur kendo tieko midhieche mag kech masani okwako oganda mathoth e pacho ka. Soma Mombasa ibiro lor ayanga chieng' Jumapil.
Believe that having a good health and a healthy population would definitely result in better productivity in terms of agriculture and trade. So what we're showcasing is the products that we've developed as a result of research at KEMRI. We have a rapid diagnostic test for malaria, and this is still undergoing approval by the World Health Organization, and this will definitely change how we diagnose malaria. So we will be able to have a short turnaround time in terms of when the doctor suspects you have malaria, and it just uses a finger prick sample.
The good things that the government has done is to bring back the 4K clubs in schools. So now, if you look at the majority of these students, they are very keen. And if you look at the number of people attending the show, most of them are young people who now have learned and are taught in school that agriculture is not just an hobby, it's supposed to be a business. So that's why we have agribusiness all the way to the universities. And a lot of people are going into agriculture as a business, and there are a lot of technologies that are being spearheaded by young people.
We have over 60 varieties of different crops that we use to feed the Kenyan families and to grow their businesses. And so inquiries like that tell us that people are still very interested in the kind of work that we do, and are also interested in making sure that we are a food secure country.
Kambi mar keyo pi e kaunti ma Kakamega, Kakwasco, Mbalariany ma Masinde Muliro to gi riwruok mar Wakeini mochung' ne rito mwandu gi kuonde pi e kaunti ma Kakamega ochako chenro mar rito aora Yala. E romo mane obagi e kaunti ma Kakamega manotelie gi Stella Wanja, ma en jakanyo mar riwruok mar NWAC, jokanyogo geto choko pesa kokalo kuom agulu mar Yala River Water Fund mabiro tiyo e chenro no. Gikwayo kembe gi jodak matiyo gi pi mawuok e aora Yala mondo chopie solro mar omenda madhi konyo chenro moriwo nyaka pidho yien. Chenro no biro e kinde ma lokruok mar kor lwasi medo mana kethore kotenore gi tije kuonde mopogore opogore pachoka, gino makelo nok mar pi ka aora to pod ogo touch.
Is actually coming in to ensure that the communities living around the sources can also benefit from this water that emanates from their community. And how is this going to work? We want to bring together stakeholders. We want to bring together manufacturing industries at the downstream, the ones who have a lot of profit from the water that is coming from upstream. We want to ask them to invest a little of this money that they are getting into the protection of the sources, the watershed at the upstream. They may not, these people at the upstream may not be able to use water directly. But if we get water money from the people living downstream, start income generating activities for those living upstream, we will all come together.
We stand to benefit more, not just because of the monies that will come in terms of the fund, but also these other benefits that will be prevented by the initiatives put in by the group. So we really welcome this, and that is why to me it's important that this gets documented well, and not just for this but also for our future use and other engagements. Yes.